So today we've struck something really cool because we're checking out the Mole Select mantle. And this knife really feels like hitting gold. Because seriously, look at this thing. You've got these gold flake inlays running throughout the handle that almost look like somebody trapped raw gold ore inside carbon fiber. It has this really premium vibe and look that immediately makes it stand out from basically every other titanium frame lock I've reviewed recently. And I've got to say, this might be one of the coolest looking production knives I've handled this year. This is the mantle, and it's named that way as this model has all these crazy inlays that are supposed to call back to Earth's mantle. I can kind of see it as these look almost like ores or compact minerals deep in the soil. This one right here makes you think of gold ores sprinkled throughout the earth, like something you'd see lining the wall of a mine deep underground. I've never seen a material like this. It just really sets this knife apart from the countless other knives out there. There are even some variants of this guy that keep the same crazy material-like design, but change up the colors. There's a silver, a light blue, a purple, and then just standard titanium. I've actually never seen this specific pattern slash material before on a knife, and honestly, I can't wait to see more of it because it looks so cool. Yet the crazy thing is, the knife actually backs up the look pretty well, because underneath all this shiny visual flair here, there's actually a really surprisingly clean design. And I haven't even mentioned the action yet, which just might be the cherry on top. So in this video, we're going to talk about the aesthetics, of course, the ergos, the action, and most importantly, whether this thing is actually worth carrying or if it's mainly just fancy eye candy. So let's dive in. So for first impressions, the very first thing you notice is obviously the handle. I mean, there's absolutely no avoiding it. This thing just looks so unique and different from anything I've ever seen before. These gold flakes have this layered depth where they kind of depend on the lighting, but they either glow subtly or they pop with a little bit of light. But what I really loved is they didn't overdo it. With a material like this, I feel like they could have easily been overdone and looks really tacky, yet instead, I honestly think it looks really, really premium. On the knife's listing page, they say that this is called the mantle because it's supposed to represent Earth's crust, and I can see it. It may be hard to pick up on camera, but this material almost looks organic and stone-like. I personally think it really looks like mineral veins running through stone. The rest of the knife is all blacked out titanium, which normally can be a little bit boring, but I think it works really well here so that all your attention is on the inlays itself. It has this really nice contrast. I will say I wish they figured out another way to hold the inlays in the frame, and there's the 3 black screws throughout, and it kind of distracts it a little bit, but it's a very small nitpick. This also comes with a titanium pocket clip that has a little bit of a design to it instead of just a blank clip, and the best part is it's reversible. You can swap it to either side. Long story short, this knife is just insanely cool looking, and that's not hard to see at all. There's one thing I really appreciate about knives with unique materials like this. If it constantly catches your eye while carrying it, you're probably going to enjoy owning it a lot more, and this is definitely one of those knives. Now, sometimes really cool or interesting designs are just that, interesting on paper. Fortunately, this is not just only a good looking knife, but also a pretty functional one too. First off, the fit and finish on this is just excellent. The blade came perfectly dead on center. Everything is smooth, there's no weird hot spots, and the action is so freaking nice. You actually have 3 different opening methods with either the blade cutout, the flipper tab on the back, or even a front flipper here. I will say for the life of me, I cannot get this front flipper to work without holding with my other hand because it's so tough, but I am notorious for being awful with front flippers, so don't blame me. That said, the flipper tab and the cutout work pretty well, and it makes it such a good, satisfying sound when you deploy the blade. Just listen here. Oh, I love that. This is a frame lock, and the lockup is extremely solid and strong. There's absolutely zero blade play or wiggle, and the blade also comes slamming shut, and it makes just such a sweet sound. It might be hard to hear on camera, but in person, it's just so freaking cool. I love the action on this guy. The blade is coming in with S35 VN steel, which is a pretty premium steel, and we've seen this time and time again on knives in this price bracket, so no complaints here. So taking a step back and looking at this knife, we have a titanium frame, crazy inlays, and a premium steel. As this knife is a little bit on the pricey side, coming in at around $200, this should all be expected, yet that's not often always the case. Fortunately, this is a knife that absolutely justifies its price tag and honestly feels even a little bit more premium than it really is. This is one of those knives where even non-knife people will probably pick it up and immediately go, okay, yeah, this feels pretty expensive. And I know this for a fact, as my wife noticed this on my desk the other day and was absolutely drawn to it. Running this channel, I buy and sell a lot of knives to get new content, but she said I absolutely had to keep this one and not sell it. So even for a non-knife person, she knew it was special. And whether or not we like to admit it, that is starting to matter more and more in this hobby, because knives just aren't tools anymore. With so much competition in this space, every new knife tries to be different. They're tools now mixed with art, and this knife absolutely leans into that art side of the hobby, and I absolutely love it. Now, surprisingly, despite how thick and chunky this knife looks, it's actually pretty comfortable in hand. Don't get me wrong, this guy is a chunk, but fortunately due to the design, it's honestly not really noticeable in hand. Due to the mantle shape, it has this curve in the back here that fits really well in the palm of your hand. And with this grip, your thumb naturally rests on the small upsweep of the blade, and there's jimping here for this perfect placement. It's very, very comfortable, and you get a pretty secure grip. There's enough handle length here to feel pretty controlled and easy to get a full forefinger grip. There's even a lanyard hole here in the back if you need a little bit more room. And the balance feels pretty good too, just a little bit behind the pivot. It doesn't feel overly blade heavy or awkward. Some fancy knives become so stylized that they stop being enjoyable to actually use and even carry. And though this knife isn't really made to be a hard user or workhorse, it still feels comfortable to use and actually works as a real cutting tool. Now, would I carry this personally every day? Honestly, no. Don't get me wrong, it's a fantastic knife and a great showpiece, but it's almost too pretty. It's silly, but I'd be too worried about scratching up the inlays or marking up this black blade. And though this is a great knife with a really great premium blade steel that could do some serious work, it just feels too nice to use and abuse it. But this doesn't mean it's a safe queen though. I would still carry this for special occasions or classier events like church, date nights, etc., but it just doesn't dethrone my primary EDC folder. But the real reason it wouldn't be in my pocket every day is just due to its size. I mentioned it earlier, but this is a chunky boy. I really personally like knives that are a little bit smaller and thinner so they don't take up as much room in my pocket. Like comparing this to the Kershaw Bel Air, this is a night and day difference. The Bel Air is lighter, thinner, and also features a superior pocket clip that is deep carry with none of the knife showing above the pocket. I still really love this knife, but it just wouldn't be my everyday carry piece. Of course, no knife is absolutely perfect, so what are some things I would change about this knife right here? First up is probably the toughest pill to swallow, and that's the price. This knife is not cheap. It currently costs around $200. Now that's a nice chunk of change right here, considering this is made overseas and doesn't feature a more hype steel like MagnaCut, for example. So $200 is a lot. So is it worth it? I'm gonna lean towards yeah, mainly because this is another titanium frame lock with a premium steel, has super cool inlays, and has really, really great action. But of course, this isn't gonna be for everyone. If you want a knife that will serve you just as well, save your money and go for something from Kaiser or Civivi. But if you want something unique and interesting, it's kind of hard to get much cooler than this. The only other criticism I really have is one I kind of mentioned earlier. It's these screw holes through the inlays. I absolutely love these inlays, so having these screws through them just seemed like a little bit of an eyesore. But other than that, I really, really like this knife. At the end of the day, the Mantle feels like a knife designed for people who already own a bunch of knives. This isn't your everyday workhorse or ultra light carry flipper. This is a knife you buy because you're tired of everything looking the same, and honestly, I kind of respect it. Because the knife industry desperately needs more creativity. And the Mantle here feels unique, it feels premium, it feels memorable. In a sea of knives that all blur together after a while, this is worth quite a lot. This thing generally feels like hidden gold in knife form. So if you guys enjoyed this review, make sure to leave a like, subscribe, and let me know down in the comments. Would you actually carry a knife with gold flake inlays like this, or is this a little too flashy for your taste? Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.